Fellow citizens, 2020 has been an exceptional year. A year in which the raging worldwide COVID-19 pandemic has killed over 1.7 million people, including our fellow Sierra Leoneans at home and abroad. A year in which worldwide healthcare systems and economies have struggled. A year in which worldwide anxiety and fear have shaken hopes for the future. We took a licking, like all countries in the world and in the sub-region, but we have kept on ticking as a nation. We have demonstrated our unity, resilience, and perseverance as a nation. We have showcased leadership with empathy, churned out opportunity out of adversity, and continued keeping our promises to the nation for progressive and accountable governance of the state. In 2020, Sierra Leone has been recognized the world over for simply doing the right things really well. We collectively resolved 2 years ago that our nation must no longer be defined by the stigma of the past as a helpless, corrupt nation, vulnerable to pestilence, prone to bloody wars, racked by human trafficking and illegal migrations, and creaking under the burden of bad governance and failure. Our international standing, image, and respectability as a nation have continued to improve in 2020. For the first time in the country's history, one of our nation's best judges, Justice Mada Samba, beat out worldwide competition to be elected judge on the International Criminal Court. After a decade more, we paid our dues to major international institutions, and we have deepened and heightened our multilateral engagements with nations and institutions all over the world. We continue to provide continental leadership for the C10, for the much overdue reform of the United Nations Security Council. Our international governance and transparency assessments throughout 2020 have been outstanding. This year, the Millennium Cooperation Challenge, MCC, selected our nation as compact eligible after we passed a record 13 indicators, including the Control of Corruption indicator and the indicator on political and human rights. We passed the EITI, assessed for the first time to Tier 2 for the trafficking in persons, assessment by the U.S. State Department, and made progress in the United Nations and World Bank Human Development indicators. Our competent handling of COVID-19 pandemic has been praised by the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, the World Health Organization, the African Peer Review Mechanism, and more. We have been cited for being innovative, proactive, and predicating our successful policies on data, science, technology, and expert advice. Through a central coordinating unit, NACOVAC, we quickly set up ancillary coordinating units in each district, established 6 testing labs, 21 treatment centers with at least one in each district, made available at least 1,000 beds, and ramped up surveillance, contact tracing, and social mobilization in short order. We have also provided health insurance for over 11,000 workers. Consequently, we have kept case fatality ratios very low. Throughout, our focus has been on saving lives and protecting livelihoods. Through our Quick Action Economic Response Program, we launched a 500 billion LEONE special credit facility through the Bank of Sierra Leone to support the production, importation, and distribution of essential commodities, deferred taxes by the National Revenue Authority on businesses, provided cash transfers to persons with disabilities, informal sector workers, and other vulnerable groups and households right across all 16 districts, provided safety net support to 2,368 workers in the tourism and hospitality industry, allotted microfinance support to thousands of women in the informal economy right across the country, and designed the National Microfinance Program for small and medium enterprises. We end 2020 with a less complicated business landscape and more engaged with the private sector on business reforms. We have secured funding for improving the doing business environment. We are reviewing the industry policy for the development of the Special Economic Zone, enacted the Consumer Protection Act, developed a national trade strategy, and reviewed the cooperative policy for rejuvenating rural community entrepreneurship. 4 manufacturing companies, Cholax, Sierra Leone Flour Mill, Sonoko, Gold Brewery, will soon start producing key consumer goods in Sierra Leone. These factories will support job creation, skills transfer, and revenue generation. The National Investment Board, a one-stop shop for investors, will also facilitate more such investments. We are transitioning into more integrated and electronically mediated business registration, operations, and records systems. These reforms are being complemented with significant investment in modern digital technology infrastructure and expanded fiber optic backbone and greater ICT penetration that will serve as a cross-cutting enabler for the development of other sectors of the economy and for public service delivery. In 2020, government has deepened its fight against corruption and strengthened the judicial system to support business development. We have stabilized the prices of petroleum products and increased revenue in the downstream petroleum sector with far-reaching reforms that will improve our strategic reserves and make the sector more profitable. Our overall macroeconomic picture is not as bleak as anticipated at the onset of COVID-19. In 2020, we completed the nationwide airborne geophysical survey, and we are now developing an enterprise geoscientific information management system. We have strengthened governance of the mines and minerals sector and formalized artisanal mining. In spite of COVID-19, 3 major minerals right holders, Kwaidu Limited, Sierra Rutai Iluka, and Sierra Minerals Holding, continued uninterrupted operations. 4 more large-scale mining projects will soon start with Wongon Investment and Mining Corporation, Kinho Mining Company Limited, the Tongo Tonguma Kimberlite project operated by Sierra Diamonds Limited and Meya Mining Limited. In 2020, we have rehabilitated or upgraded trunk roads to all-weather roads to facilitate access to markets for rural farmers. We are building bridges, surfacing or completely rehabilitating over 1,000 kilometers of major trunk roads and over 100 kilometers of urban and city roads nationwide. In 2020, we have also increased installed energy generation capacity, upgraded and expanded the transmission and distribution network, started work on restoring electricity to 7 district headquarter townships, and advanced work on the CLSG line that will benefit an additional 39 communities. This is in addition to off-grid solar installations in various communities right across the country. Talking about agriculture, my government remains committed to implementing the key priorities of rice self-sufficiency, crop diversification, livestock development, and sustainable forest management and diversification as articulated in the National Agricultural Transformation Plan 2023. Due to the pandemic, government focused on intensifying staple crop production in order to mitigate anticipated food shortages in the country. Among other initiatives, government acquired equipment for more mechanization, designed better agricultural financing instruments, improved seeds and seedlings for rice and cash crops, and provided for more private sector engagement in agricultural production. In 2020, we also launched a $54 million commercial rice production investment at Rombe, Putloko District, and significantly advanced rice value chain investments in the south and north of the country. In the fisheries sector, we developed a comprehensive fisheries management and sustainability plan, invested in inshore patrol craft and other surveillance technologies, provided advanced fishing vessels and equipment for youth and women in the artisanal sector, scaled up investment in sanitary fish processing at both industrial and artisanal levels, and expedited arrangements for the construction of a $55 million fish harbor complex. We have not related on creating the right environment for tourism sector investment in various parts of the country. We have broken sword on the new Longe International Airport Terminal and other imminent investments on Shabro Islands as part of that comprehensive package. In 2020, we also commenced the construction of a water treatment plant and distribution networks in Bonth and other headquarter towns. We have significantly improved medical infrastructure and increased bed capacity at maternal and child health units, upgraded medical and diagnostic medical equipment, recruited and trained thousands more nurses, and enhanced their conditions of service, transformed patient referral and transportation services through the National Emergency Medical Services, streamlined and expanded nationwide medical supplies, and improved blood supply services. Preliminary data indicates that we have reduced maternal and child mortality as well as overall morbidity from common illnesses. We have maintained public education financing at 22% of budget and set up a multi-donor trust fund of about 72 million United States dollars in partnership with the World Bank, GPE, EU, Irish Aid, and FCDO. Over 2.6 million pupils are direct beneficiaries of our continuing investment in increased access to education. We have developed more school infrastructure, especially through partnerships with private sector and development partners. provided free school feeding for vulnerable school populations, recruited more teachers with improved service conditions, and improved quality teaching and learning. A school catchment analysis, a new 5-year education sector plan, and a new Education Act that responds to the needs of the future are on our immediate agenda. We are working on transformative higher education reforms and skills development training across the country. Even during COVID-19, we paid for all transition examinations at all levels, revised the school curriculum, and held a national forum on the future of education in Sierra Leone if we are to compete in the global economy. In 2020, we created more safe spaces for girls, overturned the ban on pregnant girls from attending school, and introduced a policy of radical inclusion in line with our principles of universal access. In 2020, we strengthened the Sexual Offences Act, introduced one-stop centers for rape survivors, established sexual offences model court to fast-track cases of sexual and gender-based violence, launched a gender equality and women's empowerment policy, and furthered more dialogue with women's groups, civil society, and advocacy organizations. We have put more unemployed urban youths to work in 2020 through various employment initiatives undertaken by the Ministry of Youth. In 2020, we have initiated a new disaster management agency to lead on our resilience strategies as a nation. And we have built more public safety infrastructure in fire stations in the district headquarter towns. In 2020, we have expunged the seditious criminal libel law and amended the Independent Media Commission Act to guarantee free speech. No journalist is in jail for seditious libel offenses. And my government has sustained a structured engagement with civil society and rights groups. We have also maintained the moratorium on death penalty and set up a technical committee to advise on the recommendations of the Justice Cowan-led constitutional review process. So in spite of COVID-19, we have made great progress because of our relentless optimism and resilience in the face of adversity. We are indeed one nation and one people, with a zeal that never tires. 2021 will be better because we know and believe that dogged hard work and focus breed success. Let us all continue striving even harder to make our Sierra Leone a more peaceful, more resilient, and more prosperous nation. I wish everyone a happy new year.